My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content.
All right, guys, welcome back to Property Profits Podcast. I'm your host, Bryce Kaminski, filling in for Dave Dubow. And have you ever wondered how to break free from the 9-to-5 grind and scale your real estate investment successfully? Today, my guest, Benny Holcey, hailing from the world of owner finance. He's here to unveil the secrets of navigating the day-to-day operations and avoiding the pitfalls of real estate. Benny, welcome to the show. Great to have you here.
Man, thank you, man. Appreciate you for having me here today.
Yeah, no problem. So, the transitioning from the 9-to-5 into real estate, we're going to get into that. But, what got you thinking about real estate in the first place? Was like a book, a seminar, something tipped you off, said, real estate might be the answer. What got you interested?
Well, a couple of things. I always been an entrepreneur, so I always had that in my spirit. Just to know how to navigate through it. So I would say my first book that inspired me to get into real estate would be Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
So that kind of messed me up for a second. I read halfway through it. Wife told me to put it down. I was working a 9-to-5, market development manager, 2 cell phones, laptop, company car. I'm that guy, right?
Yeah.
Read that book. Listened to a couple scriptures at church, started to bother me. Just the information, I never heard it from, I would say, K through college. Grown man.
They don't teach that. Yeah.
Right. So I'm going through that whole spiel and just learning and coping with life. Just, 30 years of age, feeling like a complete failure, ex-baseball player, supposed to be this big D1 athlete, playing against elite competition, LSU, Auburn, Alabama, SEC baseball, right? But then I end up transferring to a lot of different schools for a lot of different reasons. So we're not going to get into all those. So, some my fault, some just the way it's set up for me, right? But I landed at Coca-Cola, I graduated, got my scholarship, had everything lined up for me. Did not go to the MLB. So here I am, real estate investor. Pretty much, I got one of my buddies, good buddies of mine. We used to talk about how ways we can make money, and it always leads to real estate. Somehow, form, or fashion, right? That's like the motherboard for just stability throughout every scenario you can think of, with disasters and just everything. Someone has to have somewhere to live. Okay. So we had the conversation, and somehow he brought up something on a podcast, The Breakfast Club, with like Charlemagne, that had DJ Envy and all them talking about this wholesale. He sent me the video. I looked at it. I said, I'm interested. I started digging into it. He just basically sent me the video. Long story short, I got into it, met a guy, got my first deal on the table. It's getting real, right? And at this time, I haven't read that Rich Dad, Poor Dad, halfway through. I'm working in a car dealership, just sitting there. And it really dawned on me just, hey, man, I have an opportunity here in my career to take it to the next level. I always wanted to be that guy, that person. I never really wanted to be at a 9-to-5. So, he gave me that podcast information. I met Max Maxwell on YouTube, basically. Looked him up, 30-day challenge. I'm here. I'm like, man, I'm all for it. Let's get it. Driving for dollars all around Montgomery. Driving for dollars anywhere I go looking for houses. So I finally get one. It's a great deal. Nice spread. So eventually, it gets to the end of my road with my 9-to-5, and I read the other half of that book that was collecting dust for about 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I read the other half, and that other, that switch that cut on, clicked back on, right? So I was like, whoa. I started getting sick to my stomach again. Because I put it down before because it was messing up my head so much that I didn't even want to go to work anymore.
Yeah.
Right. But I didn't have an answer. So this time I had an answer. I thought I did, right? So I jumped out, got my first wholesale deal, called my boss, hey man, I'm not feeling too well. He said, what's wrong, man? I said, I'm not gonna be able to come in this day and not another day forward. So, and he was like, you sure about that, man? And I was like, yeah, this is it. But I did it so weak, man. I feel like I should have been a lot stronger and jumped out even stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of faith, but it was tough, man, to just it's tough to
Break
let
those
that
golden handcuffs, right?
that umbilical
Always get
cord,
another
man.
job, but
Yeah.
you're gonna regret not trying.
Yeah, but I finally got the balls of steel, man, and made the jump. I did a sink or swim maneuver, man.
So
No
then did
life
you
jacket.
like do wholesaling for a bit, or when did you start transitioning to actually like getting your own, portfolio going together?
Man. So when I initially quit my job, when I made that phone call, I had about 219 bucks on my account.
Mm-hmm.
So all I had was a $219 on my account. This maybe $15,000 to $20,000 deal that I had under contract that I JV with another guy because I wasn't intelligent enough to close a DocuSign and send a contract out, right? Simple stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I paid another $7,500 to this guy based for his knowledge of how to make this deal complete. We wound up making $7,500 on my first deal. You can look it on Deal Machine. I did the whole spiel with Deal Machine,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
and
love
I
that
got it.
app.
Yeah, I got an interview with him, so I haven't used it since. I mean, I don't need it, but I can fast forward you though. I mean that that moment it made it real for me. So I was like, if I can get $7,500 doing this,
I
I
could
know
do
if I
that
go,
next week and next week and next week and next week, right? And then you get hooked. You're
yeah.
hooked in the machine now.
So we did about say that year, man. I went. I mean, I was all every day. Just I was going into houses, man, that I probably wouldn't even be going in right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to cut your teeth, and see everything. That's what I always say. But at certain point, you're like, I don't need to see this. You might even drive up in front of it and look at from the front and be like, I don't even need to see the inside of this to know what the price is. Like it is not much. Like from the outside, this thing is land value. But if you want me to go inside and look at all your trash and bugs, then banging your shoes off when you get outside, checking your cuffs on your pants to make sure you didn't bring anything into your car.
No, I got
That's
fleas,
that's
man, on
rebuy
me.
rebuy
I got
houses, man.
invested with fleas on me, man, and didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got back to the car, I was looking down and I just seen a bunch of black dots all over me. They swarmed me, man. And immediately I felt like they was all biting me at the same time. Like when they saw me, I saw them. And that's when
Mm-hmm.
I took off my shirt. I'm in the middle of the road, just stripping butt naked, man. And then I thought I got them all off, got in her car, brought them back to the house, man. That was horrible getting them things out of here. They was all in my office. I'd be in there sitting in the office biting, jumping on my leg. I had to go to Home Depot, get sprays and kits and
Yeah.
exterminator, just sticky traps. I finally got rid of them, man. Them suckers. I had caught them
And it's
about 8.
interesting, people don't talk about that side of the risks that you take going into some of these houses, like some of them aren't safe when you're walking through them. Some of
Man,
them could, you're like down in a basement that the block wall is bulging out and you're like, I don't know if this is going to
this,
survive another day.
this is Montgomery, man, like a third world country. These some properties out here, I kid you not, where they go in, rip all the copper out of it from just it's gutted. I mean,
Yeah.
completely. So like somebody took a sledgehammer, man, and just ran
And
a
they just punch
marathon
out.
through
Yeah,
it.
we get the same thing here in the middle of the winter. They punch the walls out, grab every piece of copper right down to the hot water tank. Then they'll try to take the hot water
And
tank and the furnace and the
and
panel,
get and get
everything.
five and get $5.
Yeah,
at the jump
5.
yard.
Well, if they get the copper and they get all the wire, and it
Yeah,
might be enough for a good time, but still
$20, man.
still terrible to, especially when it's your property. I mean, if it's somebody else's property, it's, like it doesn't hurt as much. But I remember I was wholesaling a deal. I had it. I went and saw it on a Thursday night because I had it under contract. I showed the guy. They took possession. I go back on Friday to like put the keys in the lockbox. Overnight is hit. Hasn't even changed hands yet. Got to get the discount, yeah, but hit in possession before possession because they saw no one was living there, so they went after it. Now, with your business, how long was it that you were wholesaling before you started like doing the production side of things?
So my first partner, man, unfortunately we didn't work out. So that was about a good year of me learning, like, okay, I got to pick my partners better, or know, have these conversations a little bit early. Because I was thinking one thing in the relationship, and I guess he was thinking another. Because towards the end, he kind of told me, but I didn't want to hear it. He was like, "Hey, man, you need to do your own thing," and I was like, "What you mean?" Like
It's
I
kind of
am
run
doing
it
my own
run its
thing.
course.
Yeah. So he was like, "You got to step it up, basically, be your own man." I was like, "I'm not ready for that," basically, and then I didn't say that to him, but it was just I was thinking it. And it's just a man thing. So it wound up something happened. I ain't gonna blast him out like that, but it was a deal we had. He's always tried to coach me like, "Hey man, you need to follow up on your leads." So I actually followed up on one of them leads, and then it turned out I called him, and he was like, "Man, we sold you the deal," and I'm like, "No, you didn't." And he was like, "Yeah, we did. You may need to call your partner like that." And I looked it up on the county, and I saw the sale and everything. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I didn't get my cut right."
Mm-hmm.
So um, called him up. His excuse was this. He gave me some bogus excuse talking about he buying the property himself. I said, "Man, do you realize I know I'm intelligent enough to look on this county and see who you sold it to, right?"
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and he still pleaded fifth or whatever he wanted to plead. Say, "Hey man, um, basically, that's what happened. Look at my bank, they're gonna send me screenshots and stuff like that." And I'm like, man, like out of all this money we don't made, I don't made you this year by foot just going into these properties in and out and hustling, man, like by any means necessary. And he denied it, man. So from that day forward, man, it felt like a breakup, felt like a marriage, man. It felt like somebody ripped your heart out. Like I ain't never felt that in my life, talk to this cat every single day, 10, 15 times a day if I had to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so for that to happen like that at that time of my in a phase of my career or entrepreneurship, it's like a dagger, man. I'm a married man now, so I'm sitting there laying in bed with my wife, like, what happened? Like, I'm sobbing on the inside, like I'm holding it strong. I ain't crying or nothing, but it's like it's a weird feeling, man. So it happened, and I'm glad it happened early. And it was a learning lesson. And then I haven't talked to that cat since that day I called him, and that
Mm-hmm.
was in 2020.
So like almost 4 years now.
Yeah, I met him like the end of 2019, and we worked all the way through 2020 in the middle of COVID, man. I mean, it just had like just imagine quitting your job and COVID hits.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's like you're like, maybe that's what it was, like this guy's feeling, oh, COVID's hitting. I gotta like do my own thing. I gotta like get my own money and stop giving money away. And he's kind of like telling you that and whatever. And that, and that's a good point. You gotta pick your partnerships. This one guy said something really interesting. He said, how people come to you is how they leave. And so when you look at the way someone
Mm,
comes to the partnership desperate, they leave desperate. They come solid, then they leave solid. They come to you good terms, it's a great partnership, then they leave usually on good terms and a great partnership. And
wow.
this is a guy who's got like 20, I talked to him, he's like been investing in real estate 30 years, $25 million portfolio. And I said, what's the secret? He said, business partnerships. The way someone starts is the way they're going to finish. So watch how they come to
Whoa.
you. because that's how they're going to walk out. So if we
That's
look at the
crazy.
way, think about the way that guy came to you in the deal. Was he desperate?
No, I was.
Yeah. So then, maybe there's more underlying at the beginning of that partnership than, yeah, you were, and he took advantage of you. He charged you
Yeah.
7,500 just to do the paperwork.
He got me. He got
And
me,
then
man.
look
He
at
got me.
that. At the end of the deal, he took advantage of you and took the deal out the table. So he came to you the same way he left.
Well, check this out. I
Yeah.
appreciate everything he did. Man, I want to call him,
Yeah, and
but
you can
my
appreciate the partnership, but
my
when I heard that, I was
ego,
crazy.
yeah, my ego got in the way. I never called him. I got somebody in my same neighborhood. He tried to pull that stunt on. You won't even believe the things that I had to go through to get to where I'm at, man. Like everything that can go wrong has happened, or it happens. Every level I go up, I have to experience a new lesson,
Mm-hmm.
bigger
Mm-hmm.
lesson. So
So
I'm trying to slim that down though, and starting to, I'm going, listening and learning a lot more from other people and learning from their mistakes. That's the best key to success. Not saying I'm still not going to make them. You still got to get in there and play the game, right?
mm-hmm,
You can
mm-hmm.
have the best coach in the world, but you still got to get on the field and do that dance. And it's going to be some mistakes, but you can minimize them with the risk, calculated risk, I call it.
So when you're looking at the market, the day-to-day kind of operations, what should aspiring investors focus on a day-to-day business type thing to kind of do what you're doing?
On a day to day, what would they need to focus on? You say?
Yeah, instead of, like sometimes I think one of the biggest challenges for people starting in real estate is you want to, but like what are the actual things that you do on a day-to-day basis that keeps your business going?
Well, I got a lot of key elements. We have a personal assistant. She's a lead manager. We have a CRM system that keeps all of our leads. We got right now we cut down, man. We had 8 cold callers. Right now we got about 2 cold callers, and then we just hired an acquisition manager. So we got a small team, and they're producing just as much as I was when I had 8.
Hmm.
So we actually have real meetings every week. I speak to
Mm-hmm.
these ladies. They're overseas, of course, and we have meetings every Monday. I used to not have meetings with them, so they was getting over. I'll tell you about that later if we have another, chance. But the main thing, you got to have marketing. You got to have a
Yeah.
marketing budget. So whether it's drive for dollars, whether it's cold callers, whether it's PPC, which is Google ads, whether that's TV ads, commercial, Facebook, YouTube or whatever. Door knocking, putting signs out on the road. Like I skipped a lot of that because of just the knowledge I got from partnering up with someone out west. Like I said, that's another story too. So I learned through experience. The
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing is having the right personnel. If you're gonna have personnel, do not waste dollars. Like having too many people doing too many things and you can't see where your money is going and coming.
Yeah.
So um it's definitely just one of those things, man, that each entrepreneur, I think, on a day-to-day basis, uh, you definitely gotta, have time for marketing, keeping your leads once you get the leads, someone manage them. If you're gonna work your 9 to 5 still,
Mm-hmm.
um, you can definitely, hire someone overseas to do this for you. Now, whether they're gonna be good or not is gonna be to you. Everybody on your team is a reflection of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I remember overspending on my flyer team, just like, oh, if I have like, it's working good at like 4 people, but what about if I had 14 people? And then it's just like, there goes the budget. Because what ended up happening is I got too many phone calls. I know that's a problem. Boo-hoo, too many phone calls from too many leads. But it was literally too many people calling the phone line that I was on the phone getting calls, missing
Wow,
calls, getting voicemails on the phone. And it was just going and going. I was just like, I can't, like don't
man, that's a
don't
good problem to have.
yeah, just don't run 14 people, don't put out like 4,000 or 5,000 flyers in 3 hours. Like don't
Yeah, my
don't do
my
it
last
unless you've
guy,
got a You got to have at least one person to answer for every 4 people walking.
My last guy, he had like 25 cold calls. He was running
Well,
a
not
different
cold calling, that dropping marketing pieces at houses where they would call back. So I was
wow.
getting on this letter that I was running like 20% callback. So if I dropped
Wow.
100, I'd get like 20 people calling me. So now on a Saturday, I'm like, well, it's kind of a nice day. Everyone showed up for the meeting today. I got all 14 of you. Let's go. And everyone went out with 200 letters. So what is that? 2,800 to deploy.
Wow.
2,800 at 20%. It turned into something like 171 phone calls in a 3-hour period. And I was
Did
just, can't even.
how many could you convert? What's percentage on that?
Like 50% are people with actual houses to sell, and 50% of 50. So 25% of those would be like something that you could negotiate into a position.
Wow. Now that
But
sounds like a
well, you
is that
gotta,
still work now?
yeah, it still works now, but it's a job, it's like solar, running those solar guys. You think that that job is easy? You watch them
Yeah, I
run
know,
up and
right?
down the street. You watch the social media reels of like, hey, we're giving deals to guys who are wearing black hats and blue shirts. You ever thought about putting solar on your house? And it's just like, it's a grind, man. It's a grind
It
keeping
is
keeping the people
dollar.
supplied. It's different than cold calling because you just give them lists and whatever. But when you're physically moving people to areas of town, resupplying their things, making sure they're flying, making sure they're trained, dropping them off, making sure they're actually doing that. Then, after they've done all that, the phone calls come in, and now you're taking those things, and you're also then going doing the meetings and making sure you're moving the team and moving the team and moving the team. It, we could do a quick like 150,000, 200,000 in maybe a couple of months, but it takes a team. It takes a whole like war effort. It kind of feels like that sometimes. So just like you're saying, don't overspend, but also don't overextend your ability to handle leads, because now you're just throwing them away just the same. You're throwing money away over here, and now you're throwing leads. If you can't handle them, like dial back your marketing, dial back the
Over
marketing,
leveraging,
or
man. Over
or
leveraging.
hire more people. But if you can't, like let's say I had a second person answering the phone, does that mean they're as good as me? Does that mean they're going to be able to get in the house the same way that you could when you get a lead? No. And
Right.
so now it's like there's only so many of this type of person in the organization, and it's hard to manage because the last thing you want to do is, I outsourced it once. I was like, I'm not going to move them. I'm not going to watch them. I'm not going to like do it. I'm just going to hire this sub team. Totally blew the budget out. These guys were just tossing them in the yard,
Oh
you
man.
know, got, the lack of oversight. The key to the whole thing was just like staying right on top of them, thumb on top of them, and making sure that they're delivering to the right houses and not the wrong houses, and that they're doing the job properly. So, one thing that has kind of changed in the industry is the way we finance things. We were talking before the show about, raising capital, but a lot of people these days are going for owner finance, sub two, they're taking over conventional notes. How has that changed since 2020 on your business as the interest rate went from what,
Ooh.
3 to 7?
Man, that was a nightmare, man. I ain't gonna lie. I was running $1 million operation, and when the interest rate, like COVID, it didn't even matter. I didn't care about that. Like we was booming all the way
Mm,
through, and then once them interest rates shot up, man, like we bought we had got our first rental, man, did our first bird. I'm talking about we cashed out like 20, 30K on this thing, man. It was cash flowing and everything. Tenant and did the whole bird, looking for another one. Then the interest rate shot up. We was over our way, well over the making. Like I said, $1 million that year, and then the bottom fell out. I mean, we didn't know what to do. Like we had to pivot. We lost a lot of income. We had a lot of people with the feed still, and it was just eating away. I said, man. Towards the end of that, I ended up having to let go. Um, quite a few of them, and I found out they was double dipping with that.
mm-hmm.
They was working for other company while working for me, but I didn't mind loans you producing. But when everything hit the fan, we started having them meetings I'm telling you about. Shoot, we had to cut ties. So start digging into them KPIs. So that's another, gotta have good KPIs, gotta track the team. Can't just have people free willy dilly out here spending money and you don't know how it's gonna come back. You gotta have some kind of formula
Yeah, you're
to
either
get
working in the factory on the floor with them, and then the KPI is pretty obvious, or if you're away, you got to have some way to measure performance in a way that makes sense, right? So,
Oh yeah.
um, what are some pitfalls that you can, tip the newcomers to real estate and just say, hey, don't, watch out for this?
I mean, like I said, if you want to do this full time, you need to have a great plan. I would say better than what I did. What I did was very risky. I'm talking about
Mm-hmm.
I was just at an all time high risk level to where I did it. So I would say, man, get your feet wet. And then the banks will treat you better than they treated me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any income, so when you got income on a 9 to 5, you can use that as leverage to give you the financial freedom. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
have you'll have your first rental, see how you like it, get your property manager, spill the whole um spill about, financial freedom, not you getting a rental and then you giving a bad review about being an entrepreneur and having a rental and having to deal with all those callbacks and all that stuff. Do it the
Yeah.
right way, follow the right expert and someone that has your style, I guess, with a mix. There's plenty of people out here that's got knowledge, and there's plenty scam artists out here too. So be careful of
Mm-hmm.
those.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more scam artists than real ones though, because it's a lot of people do a lot of talking. I'm like, okay, yeah, let's see that in real
Well,
life.
I've always found there's kind of a mix, there's a lot of people that you wouldn't even know they were in the business unless you found them on a title.
Right, 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 right.
Like they're not out here at all, under the radar using, loans from friends and people they know and businesses they used to had, and they don't have a Facebook, they don't got nothing. And then there's people out here, um, that are trying to help people get in, like I spend a lot of my time helping people break into that first deal because I feel like someone did it for me. I got that hand up into the business, like your first deal, right? Buddy kind of helped you break the mold on the belief that you could do it. And then once you're like, what,
Hey, he did his part.
$7,500?
He did his part because he told me like, look, if you want out that job, I'm gonna get you out.
Mm-hmm.
He told me just like that. I mean, this guy intelligent now. Like, so he was like, look, I'm gonna get you out of that job. You want out, we're gonna walk you out of there. I'm gonna hold your hand basically. And he got me out of there. I give him credit for that. So
So yeah, I mean that's the thing, like you do gotta watch out and like see if it's I like what you said, the style's gotta match. You could have the same education delivered in two ways and it's just won't resonate. So you gotta watch that style.
oh
Now,
yeah.
if people want to connect with you, they want to find out more, they want to continue the conversation here, what should they do? How do they find you?
I mean, they can reach out to me on social media. Ain't hard to find me. Just Google me. Benny Holcey. You should be able to, locate me somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. Information is out there. Inbox me. Anything you want to ask me, connect. I do work with wholesalers. Newbies. I call them rookies. Gotta teach them boys a lesson. Out here messing up the money, man. Y'all get in the way. Y'all need to get with it or get with a coach or something, cause y'all in the way. You making it bad for a
Making
real wholesaler.
offers too high and setting seller
Yeah.
expectations
No
sideways.
lockbox, no pictures. I'm like, what? No, nothing. Like, I need to know the roof. I need to know the age of the HVAC. I need to know some different things, man.
And
Like
maybe they never even been in
foundation,
it.
foundation falling off. No, because they calling
Hey,
for
man,
Wi-Fi.
a deal's a deal though. Do your own due diligence. A deal's a deal. I I'm I'm a
I
little
take it.
bit I'm a little guilty of being a little lazy. Here's the reason why. I don't really put all that stuff out there. If I have some photos, sure, that's helpful. But no one believes you as a wholesaler anyway. They're like, this wholesaler's calling this, he's telling me some ARV, he's telling me he could fix it for that. And everyone all the time is just challenging the numbers. They're like, oh, the numbers are wrong, the thing's wrong, your opinion's wrong. And I'm just like, here's the facts. You can buy it for this. the possession date is this, the deposit is this, and the fee is this. You don't want to believe me? Go do all the damn work yourself then. That's me.
Check this out. You gotta buy right too. I ain't gonna lie.
That's true. They're
So I forgot that.
overpricing. It's no good.
Here's another thing: if you people go out there and you quit, or if you on the verge of thinking about it, or going out there entrepreneurship, make sure you buy these deals right. Don't come back with these sad stories talking about you took a loss in the red, this and that. Buy your deals right. That's called negotiation, meaning that you need to get on the phone, talk to these realtors, and talk them to a price that fits your budget.
Yeah, figure out what the real price is. What is the real price?
And be careful with these contractors. I'll tell you about that story later too. These contractors will get you. I don't care from the Hispanic community, Black community, all the way to the white.
All of them, all the way through.
I don't care what color. Just make sure that it's green, and then they showing you some examples of what they've done, what previous work in person, because they can show you some phony photos. So
and find out.
Yeah.
Here's a piece of advice for the people dealing with new contractors. Okay, if you're gonna deal with a brand new contractor, find out where they live, find out what they own, and lean their house right out the gate.
Shoot, they gonna put one on you. They gonna put a lien on you if you don't pay them, and you saying they did their work. They gonna put a lien on the property.
That's fine, but when I give you that deposit, that first $2,000, you better believe it's going right on your house, Mr. Contractor. And if you want to run away with it, I'm coming to find it. I'm gonna come get it. Park your truck in the driveway. I'll come find it.
Let's avoid all that. Let's get with some real people who do good, genuine work that's been referred by somebody that you trust or say you trust.
That's true.
And lead with that. Don't just go off of just somebody's word or what you saw on an ad or whatever.
Craigslist or whatever. Referrals. Yeah, referrals has been a big part of the business for me. Like trust this person, you build that trust ladder, move through it,
Yeah, so you gotta have everything in place and shake some hands, man, because it's gonna take that out here. If you all shy and don't want to get out and do stuff, this ain't for you. Because you're gonna get got somewhere.
Yeah, someone's gonna, and real estate in Canada, where I am, it's a little bit more civilized. But you want to do it in the States, that's capitalism on level 12. It's the Wild West. Like,
it can get ugly. Hey, people don't understand that real estate. It can get.
You should just expect it. You should just expect it to get ugly and operate from that position because it's.
I'm talking about from the title company now.
Yeah.
The title company, it can get ugly. So you got to choose
at the closing table, when people start seeing the paperwork. How much are you signing this thing for?
Yeah. You got to have right people who are going to fight for you and explain this the right way. That's why, just like you said on the acquisition side, you got to have somebody that can explain this the right way. Because if it come off the wrong way, it's like a woman. You rub her the wrong way, and then she looking at you with an attitude, and you got to get another one,
On that note, then we'll leave that. You got to know when to end on a high note. That's awesome. Well, Benny, I really appreciate you stopping by. And, if you want to continue the conversation, reach out to this guy. And I really appreciate you being on the show. Great. Until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.